What's going on, boys? Welcome back to week 12 of Life Advice with Hunter. First of all, I just want to say thank you all for the amazing support on the last video. Last week we spent some time talking about dieting and it was just an amazing time, and we got in quite a few subs and just some great commentary back for that video. And I just once again want to say I really appreciate you guys, and you all mean a lot to me, and I know that it's crazy time for everybody right now. We're on the holidays, and I just want to let you know that you matter to us here at Point C, and we're just happy to have you here, and I can't wait for the new year. But anyways, boys, before we get started, I would just love it if you could go down there, hit that subscribe button. That way we can make sure that you guys are enjoying the amazing content that we have been putting out, and it also tells other people to check out our content, and also it makes sure that you will not miss out on a single video that we post on the channel. Anyways, boys, we're going to be getting right into this week's topic, and last week we talked about dieting. We're going to be kind of talking a little bit back, all the way back to week 1, where we talked about motivation. Today, we're not talking about motivation, but we are actually going to be sitting down, or we're going to be chatting about how to get inspired. So yes, this topic is sort of adjacent to motivation, but I wanted to talk about the topic of inspiration because I actually had somebody reach out to me privately via Instagram messages, and he asked me about how do I stay inspired both on YouTube and in my real life, because I do a lot in my life. I do things like I go to the gym quite a bit, I also work a lot, I'm also in school, and I'm also coming home every single night and I'm working on these videos. How do I do it all? Well, the thing is, right, is I sort of weigh the options in my head when it comes to sort of the benefits that I'm getting. When it comes to inspiration, I'm looking for sort of the benefits that I get from doing a task. For example, with these videos, in my head I'm thinking to myself, I'm working towards this goal that I have of growing to the point where I can at least make money off of this channel. And I'm just going to be straight up honest. When it comes to that, that's the ultimate goal. The goal is that I can inspire myself to sort of grow enough. We grow enough on YouTube, and then we're able to start making money off of our content. And that's not saying that nothing else matters, but what that is saying is that, let's face it, a driving factor for every single person in the world is money in some regard. However, it's not what we're chasing. What we're chasing is that we're inspiring you guys. That's sort of why I started this whole series to begin with. It came from an idea of me growing up watching the same sort of content, learning about stock market and stuff young, learning about topics that not everybody is taught, and I wanted to be able to do that for you guys, right? And that's sort of what I've been doing for the past 12 weeks. Now that we sort of know why we do it, now we need to figure out what are some tools that we can use to stay inspired. Now, we talked about that jar with drive. You can use the drive. However, inspiration is a little bit different. You could use it, but I would recommend trying not to use your jar of drive for this. Inspiration should sort of come naturally. You know, like when we talked about motivation, I mentioned how it's kind of bullshit. Inspiration is sort of bullshit in that exact same way. It's kind of like either you have it or you don't. But we can sort of keep that inspiration by making sure that we take breaks and also just making sure that we work towards our goals in positive ways. I do that all the time when it either comes to learning about thumbnails or learning new tricks in Premiere, right? I'm keeping myself excited about whatever we are working on at the time, and it's also I'm making sure that I distance myself so that I don't burn myself out. You know, I'm making videos all the time, but I'm still making sure that I take time for myself, for my partner. Everything around me still has the priority that it needs in my life. And also just making sure that we sort of lay out sort of our goals, once again, like we've talked about before, but we sort of lay out what we want and we kind of work from there. We sort of look, this is our goal. Does that goal make me excited? Because that's an important part here. If that goal is not necessarily making you excited, then maybe it's not the goal that you should be chasing, unless it's a sort of a boring goal, like for example, living debt-free, right? It's not the most exciting goal, but yes, we should all chase that. That's what we want in life. But when I mention things like inspiration, is this making me excited? Is this something that I want to continue to chase today, tomorrow, next week, maybe even next year, right? Is it something that I am able to sit down and come together and say, hey, I am excited for this. This is something that I desperately want. And let me tell you, man, I've lost my inspiration multiple times in my past when it comes to this YouTube channel specifically and other avenues of my life, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. For other people that don't know, for a long time, I actually made music before I landed on making videos. I still make music from time to time, but it is not my focus. I don't really release music publicly anymore. But what is important is that I find those things that I love, right? For example, when it came to music, there was a lot of things that I loved about it. I would weigh out those options and say, this inspires me. And for a long time, that worked. And then it slowly started to fade out. And guess what? That was fine because at that time we were knees deep in YouTube. And guess what? We are knees deep in Point C right now. And I'm still super excited that you guys are here. We've been growing and I really appreciate that because let me tell you, man, I have been putting in my all into this channel and we will continue to do that when we move into 2024. And it's also like one thing that sort of keeps me inspired too is constantly looking at your guys' feedback and also just making sure that I'm sort of taking breaks for myself like I previously mentioned, but also sort of looking at content that I wish that I could be making and sort of saying, okay, this inspires me to make work. I think about that all the time when I look at old Woody's Gamertag videos, when I look at weekly slap videos, and I think back to those creators, and I think back to those videos that those people made, and I look at the content, and I say, what do I love about this content? What do I want to take away from it? Because I take away from videos all the time. All of us creators do. When I go back and listen to a lot of those old Woody's Gamertag moments, I sort of stop and I tell myself, this really inspires me, and I really thoroughly enjoy listening to Woody just kind of sit there and talk with his audience. And that sort of inspires me because of the reach that that man has had over the past, almost probably actually over this 15 years that he's been on the platform. You know, for those like 15 years or so, he's been basically chasing a goal. He's been inspiring people, and he's been doing all these things that I've wanted to do since I was a kid. And I tell that to myself all the time, right? These are some goals that I've had since I was a little kid, and I'm sort of doing it for that child, right? We're running towards it. We are working towards it, and we are not giving up. We do not drop. We simply keep pushing. We keep working, and we make sure that we are able to grow and continually push ourselves to prove people wrong that have told us that we can't do it, and also just making sure that we are keeping that inspiration high when it sort of comes to that BS thing that I talked about. A lot of inspiration is sort of BS, but it's important to make sure that we sit down, focus through it, and make sure that we are growing and doing the things that we wanted to do in the process. It's also just kind of important to try to find things that drive that inspiration, whether if that's a person or the content that we already just mentioned. Person can be super helpful. You know, I think about the people in my life and how much it would mean to me if I am able to either help them out in any sort of way that I can, and also them just showing me that support that they believe in me and that they know that me and Noah can do this. And I even just use Noah all the time, right? It's like we both have the same dream, we both have the same drive, and we both have sort of the same thing that we are chasing. And what is important is that we are constantly chasing it and that we are constantly working towards it. We are both constantly recording. We're both constantly coming up with ideas inside of our Discord. All the time we're typing back and forth. We're coming up with new ideas for the channel or whatever it may be. Like we're starting up Halo Night soon, and that is something that keeps me inspired. Trying to keep things new and fresh and also sort of keeping my mental health happy. I'm able to basically sit down and work through things and make sure that me, myself, is happy along with making the content that you guys are thoroughly enjoying over the past, 11 weeks at this point. Another important thing about inspiration is sort of making sure that you're not afraid to fail. Not every single thing in your life is ever going to go perfect like we've talked about, but it's also super important to understand that failures make us a better person and a lot of times a better content creator. I've made plenty of content that sort of has died in the water, and that doesn't make me upset. It lets me know that I've learned something. Like when I look back at videos, I'm like, all right, people did not like this content. That necessarily does not mean that we failed. It debatably means that we sort of are learning. You know, I'm able to sit down and look at it and say, okay, this is where people were dropping off with the content. This is where people weren't getting engaged. This is where people were not being entertained. What's important is that we basically just sit down, we work through that content, and we figure out what is it that people like in our previous videos? What is it that people are enjoying? And it's just that we need to keep pushing. We need to keep making content to make sure that you guys are enjoying that content. And that also keeps my inspiration high. It's also making sure that you stick with the thing that you want to be inspired with. If it's video creating, if it's music, if it's writing, whatever it may be, what's important is that you sit down, you push through it, you look forward, and you keep making that thing that you are excited for. Keep investing, keep playing that sport, whatever it may be. It's the fact that you keep pushing through it. When there's a small inconvenience or one day you wake up and you say, I don't want to do this today, that doesn't mean that you give up. There has been plenty of days where I've woken up and I've said to myself, I don't want to edit today. It even happened recently. Guess what? I've been doing a lot, right? So guess what? I took the day off from editing. That doesn't mean that I quit it entirely. That just means that I needed to take some time for me mentally to prepare to jump back into this video and make sure that it's amazing for you guys. And that's what's super important. You need to make sure that you're stretching out your time appropriately, making sure that you're taking your breaks for yourself and for the others around you, but still making sure that you're working towards that overall goal that you want to achieve. No matter what it is, that still applies. You need to make sure that you're still giving yourself time to grow, time to learn, that you are still working towards that end goal, that thing that you were inspired about, whether if it's growing a brand, if it's traveling around the world, if it's playing a professional sport. That is all cool. That is all amazing. But guess what? You need to go through it and you need to keep persevering every single day. You need to stay inspired when it comes to these ideas that you have in your head. These ideas are not going to be solely created by drive. These ideas are solely not going to be created by motivation. They're also going to be created by your inspiration and what you want to do to grow. What are you going to do to grow? Is it going to be marketing? What is it that is making you excited? Why are we inspired? We need to figure out that before we start even chasing these goals that we have previously mentioned. And it's also making sure that you share what's making you excited about this task or whatever you may be working on. It's important to share that with other people. I think that is a very important thing when it comes to these tasks, when it comes to these ideas, right? When it comes to that inspiration, if you keep it built up inside and you're not telling people about what you're excited about, that inspiration will die quick. I know from experience. What's important is that you need to sort of not be afraid to tell people. I tell people about the plans that we have on Point C all the time, whether if it's my friends, sometimes even my family. Look, like, you know, this is going to sound cringe, but it's like sometimes I talk to my mom about it, right? And she has no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But she's happy because I'm happy and I'm excited about it, right? Or I even do it with my partner, right? All those things that we are talking about here are going to help that inspiration. When you talk to the people that you love, the people that you trust, you are able to sort of take what they're telling you and what they're understanding from you to sort of build on that inspiration. Say, okay, these people are proud of me. These people want to see me succeed. So it's important that you continue to work towards it and making sure that you are also taking in their advice and whatever they are telling you to do when it comes to that inspiration. I'm not going to tell you to drop out of school or anything stupid like that. Make sure that you stay grounded when it comes to your inspiration. And what's important is that you need to sort of chase it as much as you can. And I want you to spend as much time as possible that you can give to it. But I also want to make sure that you are taking care of responsibilities and that you are following your dream as you originally intended it, no matter what vision it may be. If it's a sport vision, or in my case, it's a video vision, whatever it may be, I want you to stay on track for that. I want you to chase and I want you to do the amazing thing that you are built to do. And I want to see you succeed. And I can't wait to see you on the other side, brother, because I will tell you, if somebody ever tells me that this video helped them, I will hold hands with them right then and there and tell them, guess what, bro? We fucking did it. We beat the odds and we have proved everybody wrong, and we have followed that inspiration, and we have created something that we can both be proud of. Anyways, boys, this has been Life Advice with Hunter, week 12. Man, that is insane of a number to say. I honestly never would have thought that I made it to 12, and I know it's crazy because this series is really just getting started, but I just once again want to say that I really appreciate you guys for everything that you given me and Noah over the past few months, and also just the amazing support that we have felt over these last few months when it comes to creating videos. And I just want to say that we are all so thankful for you, and we can't wait to see you in 2024. Also, make sure that you go down there and hit that subscribe button and the like button. That way you won't miss out on a single video that we post. It also lets us know that you guys are enjoying the content. It also lets other people see this amazing content. Anyways, boys, I hope that you're having a wonderful holiday. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace.